how's it going? I am going to read you some cards. And I pulled today 2 cards. The first one I pulled was from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, number 5, and it's Closing Door. And the subtitle is Completion. You want to get a load of that? Whoa, there's somebody in there. Okay, this is weird. It looks like somebody with white hair, and a white shirt, like a blousy shirt, like an old-fashioned kind of shirt. And they're playing like tall bongos, like congas. Wait, was it right there? Yep. Right there, a whitish figure in there. See, now I can't see it on the phone. But oh, now I see. There's the drums. Right there. There's the white shirt, little white head. Oops. Right there, you can see it. It's got like a dark kerchief or something above the you know where kerchief goes, if you know what one of those is. A bandana around your neck, basically a scarf. Anyway, yeah, I've never seen that before. That was interesting. Some kind of festivities going on there in the background now. It's like, oh, what is that, string lights? What the heck? Now, see, I have just been looking at that whole area. Well, not the area where I think there's like a bongo playing guy, but above that, there's like white or yellowish sparkle things. Well, I just thought it was something coming off it looks like a fire inside of that door. But like looking at it just now, it's like, oh wow, I guess that could be like a city light type deal. Anyway, none of that has anything to do with what I got out of that card today. So I'm going to read you the guidebook. Oh, wait, did I do signs? Hey, can you see my signs? Please look at my signs so I can be all in compliance, I hope. I don't know if it's even good for anything to do that, but it has been done. So yeah, I was going to read the guidebook about what it says about the closing door. So, closing door, endings, completion, your greater calling. When the closing door shows up, it's a call to recognize an ending, to terminate a relationship, job, task, or situation that has been dragging on for too long. Oh, dragging on far too long. Unlock the cage you have been trapped in and shut the door behind you. This is not the time to worry about what others might think or feel. Instead, break with routine. Consider what you think and how you feel. What you think and how you feel, and be true to your heart's calling. It's time to walk out the door. If you do not see a door, but only a solid wall in front of you, ask for assistance. Muster the courage to say, no more. Remember as well that no one else needs to be wrong in order for you to do what you've known you needed to do for a long time. If the door to a project or a relationship has been closed to you, stop knocking on it. You've tried that already and no one answered, at least not in the way you would have liked. Take this as a gift, difficult and painful as it might be. There it is again. Enjoy the unpleasant. Be versatile, adaptable. Uh-oh. We had to talk about your crap. Oh, move on. Excuse me, I will. Every door that, ow, what are you doing? Every door that shuts is an invitation to find another way, another path to your destination. Better to recognize this earlier rather than later. How many of us leave a relationship or job years after we knew it was time to move on? Stop wallowing in the pain and lingering on the reasons why things did not work. It is keeping you from your greater calling. Bow deeply before that closed door. Give thanks to the lessons and set yourself free. Leave out the back, Jack. That's all I'm going to say. It's a line from a song. Look it up. So I said that the card, or the what I just read from the guidebook really is not what I was getting from this today. So I have written a little bit of it down, what I was thinking, and I thought when I looked at it, like, okay, closing the door on chapters of your life. And like, it's not just like, you're not just leaving, kind of. I feel like it's a revolving door. Yeah, and like, you can't run from yourself. So, I mean, that, to me, that means when you have, something like that you have been that's been like lingering with you for a long time, and it's like part of a cycle or whatever, but it's like you have like been working on it, working through it, and you're like done. You're ready to go and move on to the next chapter, but it's I misspoke back there, because I was saying you can't, you run. Now I'm just confusing my mouth. So what I meant by you can't run from yourself is I meant you can't run from your problems, except that was the wrong thing that you can't run from. I mean, you can, and there's consequences to that, but, you know, better you deal with them, because that's, you'll have internal and external things in your life that will, I don't know, throw you a curve or something, but you're always going to have something. So best deal with that, because if you don't, like, whatever comes along, life gets busy, and like, you have the internal stuff and the external stuff, and then other things come along in the middle of everything, but you got to deal with it. So you have choices, like how to deal with it, and you can, you know, procrastinate or compartmentalize it and stuff it away somewhere and not think about it and just move on. But if that's something you do a lot of, rather than just dealing with, like, pretty much if it's just you and your thoughts, you're dealing with bad feelings, memories, and things that it's just, you don't want to relive things, you don't want to have the feelings that you had, and, you know, maybe you feel like you did a lot to get away from that by putting it in the compartment and sticking it in with the other compartments. But the thing is I feel like untended back there while you're out consciously being and doing whatever, and tap dancing came to mind for some reason, and just smiling really big and like tap dancing for your life almost, you know, like to appear as if everything's well. And then meanwhile, in the compartments, everything's moldering and festering and aging and growing and giving off fumes and basically sort of permeating and staining each other, like its surroundings, which without direction, like you paying attention to it, things could get out of hand back there, like anything you don't have your eyes on, pretty much, at least, periodically, if it can grow a life of its own, is what I'm saying, and that will interfere with the front office, your consciousness, and I mean, need I say more? Do I have to describe how that could turn out? Like, all of a sudden surprise. But the way I misspoke is that you can finally deal with your problems. I mean, either you decide to go deal with them before they get out of hand, or they get out of hand while you're not paying attention, and then more gets out of hand. It's like more work. So I was talking about, I was confusing what I'm talking about with the ego, which you can deal with your problems and then sort of file it, chalk it up, get what you're going to get out of it, appreciate it, be glad for the experience. You could maybe laugh about it later and have good feelings about it, but you have come face to face with it, done what you needed to do. Even if it's just that's got to be an improvement, just like in the sense of like how you feel, and maybe not know like exactly why you're feeling how you feel, like it might be good, it might be negative, but like if you're not paying attention and you're looking at whatever's over here with your consciousness, then who knows what's happening over there really. Okay, I said that already. So you can deal with them, get them taken care of. What you have that you can't get rid of at all, and you don't want to because it's part of a survival and safety mechanism, but it can also be like those cells that you have to tell to stop growing, so they, oh guys, I'm just like talking about something else with no preamble. Okay, well, you need your ego, but your ego can also mess you up. So I mean, that's what I mean. It's like we've got all these factors that we're having to face, and it just made me think of like the closing door, and you're like closing the door on chapters, but you have to go through it as a process. It's not all at once. And it made me think of the Ten of Wands from this deck. I have the Lightseer's deck, because of the illustration on it is this person with their yak. I think that's a yak, and all of their stuff. Okay, my phone is telling me I need to update, and I can't do that right now. So she's come down this hill, and to me it looks like she's stopped and is considering, like, wow, do I want to do this anymore? Because it looks like she came from the top of the hill on first glance, but actually she came on a path that winds kind of around the top, and I just realized that today, and it kind of suggested to me that that is not the only hill that she's had to come over. And I felt like she's reached that point where she's like, wow, I don't know if I want to lug all of this around anymore. Like, maybe I should think about, what do I still want to carry around with me? And I feel like that's a pivotal moment with the closing door, like that's one hillside closer, But everything's a process with life. Like, you don't hardly ever just do something once and have it just wired, and you never have to practice it again. Like, that's it, I just know how to do it. Although there are situations where that's a reality, kind of, where you have like just all of a sudden prodigies, or not all of a sudden, but just like prodigy people that are like no one else in the family can do musical stuff or whatever the discipline is, or I'll just go with that word. And then there's just this odd child that can do like music and is like, you know, like a Mozart or something, and just like somebody put this egg in the carton, snuck it in with the other one. This one is not from this carton originally. And that is opinion commentary, a function sometimes of many prior lifetimes of being a person in that profession, so it's not too hard to pick it back up, you know, like even a child, like you'll see some places like a child that is just amazingly good at something with very little exposure to it, you know, and those are the kind of people where you're like, okay, somehow they've done that before and they still require instruction, you know, if at least to like, well, they gotta like sharpen up and remind this new body how to do things with, and there's a little being with all kinds of internal and external things going on, and they're still producing like amazing whatever it is, beautiful whatever it is, beyond the pale, like beyond imagining greatness. So that could be a factor, but problems, I don't know if it's as easy as like a creative talent to shed, you know, like how long did it take to go through it all? Like maybe you have to go through it, just reverse it, and I don't know. I'm just, you know, spitballing, but I really feel like she's like, I gotta deal with something less here. So the way to do it is to look at it and pay it some attention. So let's see what else. Actually, I think I'm gonna save a bunch of that for, we'll see. And so the other card I pulled was zebra. Hasn't happened in a while. I thought it was trying to cut me. It like flew right up. It was weird too because my hands were, I'm at a kitchen counter here, and so my hands were, it has an opening for wheelchair people like myself, so my hands were sort of down below the level of the top of this thing for sure. And I mean, I wasn't doing it energetically or anything. It's like I was practically underneath the counter because I figured I'm just very slowly doing this, and this card just said, and I was like, okay. And like it's like exciting. Are you gonna let me in? So this one has good eyelashes if you're into that kind of thing, this depiction. You know, all of those lines, I think my eyes may be tired, but they're really making my eyes swim. Let us read from the book, from the manual, shall we? Zebra, fire energy. Wow. On here, it's like really pop art. Okay. Eccentric, creative, visionary. Zebras are the most precious of gems. They are young at heart, well-cultured, and have an undying curiosity about life. Being in the company of zebra personality is not only a delight, but also opens our minds. Be prepared, their potent magic is contagious, and you may soon find yourself in a faraway land. expanding your worldview. While having a blast. Zebras also like to contribute to the global health through environmental or volunteer work. This card may be a hint to pack your bags. When in balance, worldly, enthusiastic, fashion forward. When out of balance, jaded, pouty, vain. Jaded, pouty. I don't have one for vain. Sorry about that. To bring into balance an epic adventure art. Look, I don't know what's happening right now, but it's been happening all day. Like, just, I don't know, just like, oh, like feeling of happiness all of a sudden. Okay. It's been fine earlier when I wasn't really, like, doing anything official. Now, it's like, what the heck is wrong with you? So, these animals, when I was a kid, oh my God, I wanted to see a zebra so bad. I don't know what the deal was. And I thought they were in a circus for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why that's coming to mind right now. But, and why is Jimi Hendrix coming to mind? Okay. Well, different and creative for sure. Unexpected. Another kind of curveball. I was on Twitter one time and I follow some rock sites and they ask questions a lot, and I think the question that day was some kind of comparison between Jimi Hendrix and someone else, and I think the person ahead of me said something about apples, and he was the difference between apples and oranges, like Jimi Hendrix was, like just no comparison, which I agree with pretty much anybody you could name. Well, of his generation, put it that way, because that's what it was, like of the 60s and 70s. You know, many of them are still around today. And if I would shut up, I could get there. So I said, well, Jimi Hendrix wasn't even apples or oranges. If he was anything, he was a star fruit. And Carlos Santana liked it. And so I thought that was pretty funny. But if you educate yourself about the man at all, Jimi Hendrix, like away from the guitar stuff even, or especially, interesting guy, I'm getting chills, worth following up on, finding out about, fellow Sagittarius, fellow guitar player, although, I mean, I hesitate to even call myself that, especially now I haven't been able to do it in so long. Or the part of what has me in the wheelchair is part of why I no longer can play the guitar as well as I once was able to. And that's all you need to know about that. I feel like, this is more of an energy to embody. Since we're talking about lugging around all kinds of burdens in the forms of, one thing I sort of stumbled upon when I was making some notes on this was like, oh shoot, my mind trying to run off with what I was thinking about. Hold on a second. Oh, it was like, when it comes to, like, unburdening ourselves, like the young woman, where'd she go? in the illustration has like a lot of stuff, and like I said, is thinking about offloading something. But in order to do that, you have to like take the bag down, pull everything out of it, see like what item belongs where to who, like how does it make you feel. I mean, basically you have to take your problem apart and dissect it once you like make the decision. If you're me, that was my process, to face the problem, whatever it is. Like she's got hers like all neatly ordered and already compartmentalized. My process was not so smooth. It took a lot more investigation, and is in no way finished. But also this isn't the first hill she's crossed, remember, and that would be, to me, like indicating that it's a process. Like you're not going to just be a prodigy. Just like everything else in life, most of us, or you're not likely to be a prodigy. Most of us are going to have to put in like more effort, and if you're doing a lot of it for a lot of things, and then you have all of the internal and external pressures, like it's just a mix of things that could become very overwhelming. And sometimes when we feel hopeless and we think everything is hopeless and we think the times are hopeless, we could fall into a depressive state. And I wanted to say that, what is like kind of really hopeless is the way that we learn about events, like our news, and it has a tendency to just give you everything to like not make you feel very good. And but we do need to get our information. But the thing is another thing to offload is consuming so much media. And I feel like we almost make it like the only thing that we can really care about or think is important. And boy, is that not the case. Like there are so many more things for our personal well-being that are way more important. And I have been noticing, and my psychics have been saying, well, they've just been saying how things are going to be in like the future and like what's gonna happen with us people. But I actually have started to see it like more and more, like little signs, like little, not even cracks. Like I remember several times hearing news organizations that are waiting for like the mega people or the key people to suddenly go, the left was right. They know. They're not Martians. They're Americans or, immigrants, whatever. Whatever, they're Americans. Or maybe they're not, but I'm just talking about here in America. So, come on. Oh, get out of town. You gonna tell me I forgot? Wham! I wanted to say that, whatever it was. Looking at the problems, something about this. Oh, that there's good, duh. So, yeah, while looking at the media, that I should look at far less of, probably all of us, and I've explained many times that a lot of it is like the alternative news coverage to be found online. And they'll go to the Trump rallies, like various people. Some go to, like, they'll go as interviewers, I'm referring to, and they'll either go with the intention of, it's comedy out the gate. There's a comedian doing the interviewing, so there's that. There's a couple of teams that do that. One is comedy, and they're so, like, sublime that the people they're talking to, I think, almost never catch on that this guy's not actually a reporter. I know why. I have a lot of vegetable scrap trash. Go away. And it's right next to me under here. So, I had to start talking about that stupid crap. Oh, and others are just reporters, and some troll them, and I don't know, there's like all shades of it. But I have noticed, no matter who they're talking to, but especially the ones that are treating them like human beings and not making fun of them, and not making them feel dumb and question themselves about what they're doing, because I'm seeing a lot of that too, and I don't feel like that's helpful to point out. It's funny, but it's kind of mean to point out that, like, the Trump supporter with a never surrender shirt with a picture of Trump being in his mugshot, which you don't get unless you are surrendering at the police, surrendering yourself to the law. See, I can't even get it out. Are you on my head? I'm just kind of ironic. And then, like, making the person have to think about it, like going, so, like, asking them first, like, hey, you like your shirt? Like, yeah, never surrender. And he's like, yeah, but, the interviewer I'm thinking of says, okay, but, he's at, what I just said, at the police station surrendering, and that pretty much shuts them down. Like, they can't think anymore, and it's like, I don't know, maybe that's the way it's supposed to go. Like, someone's gonna bring it to their attention in a certain way where something clicks. But I started talking about something completely else than what I wanted to talk about. More and more people are starting to show that maybe they're not into, like, wanting to be a whole, when I get elected, I'm going to go after all the people that offended me, right or wrongly, like, if the accusation is a correct one or not going to matter, just going to do it out of spite and tit for tat, no acknowledgement of the actual laws that you broke, and that is the reason why you're in trouble with the law, not because of anybody else. Which he knows. It's just not his thing to admit to stuff. So, why did I start talking about that? But yeah, there are people are, like, having alternatives. Like, they'll ask more and more when they're asked, well, if something happens to him and he can't run or whatever, who would you want instead? Or what do you think about, they'll ask a lot about, what do you think about the other candidates? I'm not going to name them. Sorry, Charlie. So, and they're volunteering these sort of very, very slight alterations in their devotion to the man, which I think is good, like, especially for all the Christians in there, because I asked one in 2015, there was a Catholic, and there's like a thing in the Bible that specifically says don't worship idols and don't worship golden yaks or calves or whatever the thing was, whatever the ruminant was. And Trump with the golden tan man is the full-on worshipped golden idol. And I asked them, well, it was one person, and I asked him, and he said, no, I don't think so. And I was like, okay, we can say. It's an interesting phenomenon where things that are obvious and visible to one set of people that are wired to believe or perceive things in a certain way see something completely different from people that are not wired the same way. And that seems to be the case. Although maybe that was the wrong way to put it. Like, wired to see things in a certain way, not irreparably tied to only seeing things the one way, is what I think I mean. I can't even repeat what I just said. Good thing there's a recording. But it'd be easier to like offload some of your stuff just in so many ways, because our problems are either a result of something in our life, or they are affected by things in our life. Like if you have a disease, like if you have a disease or something like cancer, fill in the blank, or it's your job, it's you're the purse snatcher, whatever, or you're the coworker, or your car, or either your neighbor, or the neighbor's pet, or I don't know, politics, the law. There's so many things, and you're feeling, and then they're feeling, and those create more things in all of us. And so we're dealing with all this stuff, and it's like, dang, like, and then this crap too. And it makes everything very hilly and tiring, and she has to walk. She can't even ride the beast of burden. It's got to carry all the junk. So, yes. Say yes. Put something down. You'll be happy. And, that again. About the laughing, like, that makes it easier for me to, like, stop feeling all heavy about something, is when it becomes something I can laugh at. So, be creative. Or just, be light. I think once you do that, all kinds of other lighter stuff starts to happen. I don't think I need to say more. Thank you and good night.